In this lesson, we'll take a look at how we can pass a URL to the read CSV method to get pandas to download a dataset for us from the internet to our local Jupyter notebook. So what is the advantage of this? Well, imagine you have an online link that stores a dataset that is frequently being updated. For example, you may have a CSV that is being written to by a database every hour or every day. So we have a data set that is always changing, and it helps to have the latest version of the data. Well, in that situation, it becomes very laborious to go to an online link, download the data set locally, make sure you don't confuse it with another one, and then import it into your notebook and all that stuff. It takes a lot of steps. It's a lot easier if we can just provide a link to that CSV, the location on the web where that CSV file is located, and as it's being updated, whenever we run the pandas file or the Jupyter notebook file, it will always get the latest batch of data. So let's take a look at how we can pass a URL to the read CSV method. It's going to be a simple string. So in another tab, I have the New York City Open Data website. So this is public data available from the city of New York. You can visit it at opendata.cityofnewyork.us. So one public data set that is made available by New York City is baby names. What are the names of the babies being born in New York? So here I can search for the baby names data set. And the very first result we're going to get here is this one, popular baby names. So let's click on that. And once we're on this page, we can go ahead and click View Data to see a preview of the data set. So here is a sample preview of the first couple rows. And I don't know the rate at which New York City updates this. It may be daily, it may be monthly, but it would help if we had a link to this data in its online format so that we would always get the latest batch. So if I click this export button right here, you'll see we have a whole bunch of options including CSV. And if I click it right now, it will download the CSV file. But this is stored on some server somewhere, and if I can just get the URL of the CSV, then I can also pass that into my read CSV method. So what I can do here in my web browser is right-click on CSV and select Copy Link Address. So if I paste that link address in our URL bar, you'll see it's the actual link to the location of the CSV file. Right here we can see it's called rows.csv. In fact, everything after we don't actually need, so we can delete this. So I'm going to copy this URL link to a CSV file on the web, and right here I'm going to declare a variable called URL, and I'll assign it to a string containing that URL. All right, this is a link to that data set. So now all I need to do below is invoke the read CSV method like always, but now instead of providing a file name of a CSV that is found in the local directory, I'm going to provide a string representing a link to a CSV on the internet. Like so. So when I execute this, it might take a little bit longer to process because it's going to need to make the web request and then get the data. But what we get back here is a data frame. So Pandas has reached out to the online data set on the City of New York website, fetched it, and then converted the CSV data automatically to a data frame. And of course, if we want to work with this, it's as simple as assigning it to a variable like baby names. So once I execute this, we have the data stored locally, and I can, for example, preview the first 6 rows of the data frame with the head method, and there we go. We've now fetched the data locally. So for example, if tomorrow there's 10,000 more rows added to the CSV, it's not a problem. This line of code is a lot more dynamic and flexible. It's going to fetch the latest batch of data, and we don't have to download this data set locally. So super powerful and super helpful when you have a data set that is changing constantly. We're going to be reusing this baby names data set throughout a couple of the lessons here, so hold on to this code. But other than that, I will see you in the next lesson.